SOHCAHTOA to find a missing side. So you need to practice setting it up so that it's very fast. That's not even the skill yet, right? You have to just get it fast so you can get going. So the first thing is we're going to just put these values into our calculator just to get a little calculator friendly here. So if I want to find sine of 30 degrees, I go to my calculator and I press, do you see my sign is right here? Sine 30, enter. Oh, you can't see my answer. You get 0.5 there. Does everybody see? You don't have to put it. If it's the end of your thing and you don't need the bracket for anything else, you can just press enter. Okay, so cos of 30. What do we also have to do? Tan of 30. Everybody getting these answers? Then we're doing, okay, so I'm going to put this in here. I'm just going to make it smaller. Okay, so there is my sine of 30 degrees, cos of 30 degrees, tan of 30 degrees. Does everybody get that for their answers? No questions how we got that? No, you could probably do 3 decimal places for these ones here. So put 0.866 and 0.577. Do 3 for right now. I'm going to show you how to keep it in your calculator in a little bit. We shouldn't, so some things that you weren't really, the grade 9 teacher wasn't as strict on was rounding, not until the final answer, but like you cannot round until the final answer. So you got to really watch and use your calculator to store things. When it stores it, it's storing the entire number, not just a snapshot here. It actually stores all of that there. Okay, so let's do sine of 60. So I'm just going to clear this so then I have just a screen here. So sine of 60, cos of 60, and tan of 60. Okay. The fun thing is in grade 11, we actually learn to do this by memory. So for instance, if you were to go up to any of my grade 11s, or even the kids that are coming in after this class, and you ask them what sine of 30 degrees is, they should be able to tell you. Okay, now we're going to find some missing sides, okay? So we need to figure out what the given sides are and what's it in relation to their given angle. So did everybody see 24 degrees is my theta here? Does everybody see? So everything is going to be in relation to that. Of course, the hypotenuse is already, you know, it's always opposite the 90-degree angle. It's just the opposite and adjacent that changes based on where the angle is. So can anybody tell me what A is? Opposite or adjacent? It's opposite. Does everybody see this is opposite? So then the next question is, what trig function uses those two in it? Opposite and hypotenuse. It's sine, right? Sine is the opposite over hypotenuse. So what I would do personally is I would write out the formula. So I'm going to write it out. So sine theta is equal to opposite divided by hypotenuse. You don't have to do this step, but that's what I would do when I'm first learning it. I would write it out. So now we're going to plug in what we know. We know that theta is 24 degrees. So we're going to write sine 24 degrees is equal to, we don't know opposite, but we do know there's a letter for the opposite. What is that? Little a. And then we do know the hypotenuse, and that is 7.5. Okay, so this is why we practiced our cross multiplying. Do you see a cross multiply here? We're going to cross multiply this 7.5 up. So my answer for A is going to be whatever sine of 24 degrees times 7.5 is. I'm writing it out, but you don't have to actually write out this step. So now we're going to go to our calculator, and I'm just going to clear this. We're going to go sine of 24. Now, this is where we have to close the brackets, and it's not the end of the thing, because we're going to take sine of 24 and times it by 7.5. So we need to close the brackets here, otherwise you're going to get the wrong answer. It's going to think you need sine of everything after that, right? And so then we're timesing it by 7.5, and what do we get? 3.0505, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just going to put that in there. Does everybody see? This is how I punched it in, right? And so what is A? It doesn't say how to round. We're going to round to 2 decimal places. So A is approximately 3.05. And to get full marks, what do we have to remember to do? The units. So that would be centimeters. Okay. Any questions how we did that? So we're just going to keep doing that. It's not too bad, eh? Okay. Keep going. Example 3. We need to find A, it says. Okay. Does everybody see? Here is my angle. So that is my theta. We're trying to find A. What's A in relationship to theta? Opposite. And 18, of course, is always going to be called all day long the hypotenuse. Can anybody tell me what trig ratio we need to solve for A that has opposite and hypotenuse in it? Sine again, yeah. Sine. So again, if you want, you can write it out. Sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. You don't have to do this step. Now I'm going to plug in all the given information. So sine of 62 degrees is equal to opposite, which is A, divided by hypotenuse, which is 18. Everybody good with that? So this is like exactly like the last question. All we're going to do now is take that and cross multiply it over. So take our calculator, and it's sine of 62 degrees, close the bracket, times 18. Okay. And we get that as our answer. So what does that mean? A is approximately 15.89. You could put the 3 and you won't lose any marks. If I say corrected 2, you can put more than 2, but you just can't put less than 2. So, and what do I need to put for my units? Meters. So in grade 11 and 12, we do corrected 3, and most of the kids do 4, just to be on the safe side. So if you like doing 3, you can do 3. It's all good. And you can truncate or you can round. I always preach truncating, which means you're cutting it off at that. So if you want to get a habit, you can do 4 all the time, because then you're ready for next year, right? Okay, so now we're going to do B. Yes? Oh, we might not finish this lesson here. That's okay. Now we're going to do B. So B is what to 62? Adjacent. So now I'm just going to cross off the A right now. Does everybody see we're using adjacent and hypotenuse? So which trig ratio is that? Cosine. So we're going to write out cosine theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Everybody good with that so far? Okay, so cos of 62 degrees is equal to adjacent, which is B, divided by 18. So does everybody see we're going to do a quick cross multiply again? Pretty easy. B is approximately, so we're going to punch this in. So this is cos of 62 degrees times 18. So is that what you got? Yeah. So again, approximately, so we do the little wavies to show that it's not an exact value. So this is 8.45, and again, that would be meters. All right. What do you think? Yep. Okay, so let's go to example 4. Find G. So again, here is my theta. What is G? That is the hypotenuse this time. What is 5.8? Adjacent. Okay, so which one has adjacent and hypotenuse in it? Cosine, yeah. So cosine of theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Again, you don't have to write this step. You can go directly into this. So cos of 72 degrees is equal to the adjacent, which is 5.8, divided by the hypotenuse, which is g. So this is why when I went over cross multiplying, remember the little switcheroo thing? Some people weren't doing it. They weren't buying the switcheroo thing. You got to switcheroo this, right? So what is g going to be if I do a switcheroo? 5.8 divided by cos of 72 degrees. Does everybody see that's what you have to do? You have to do the switcheroo cross multiply action, right? So now we're going to go to our calculator and we're going to find 5.8. So 5.8 divided by cosine of 72 degrees. You can close it or you don't need to close it. And we get 18.769. Yes, is that what you got? Okay. And does that make sense? You would get a bigger number than 5.8. Yeah, it's the hypotenuse, right? So G is approximately 18.77 if you want to round. And that would be meters again. Okay, so how would we solve what H is? How would we solve what H is? Anybody? So that is my opposite. And I'm going to cross off this one because we don't know information on this, even though we did really solve for it. So which trig ratio are we going to use this time? We have opposite and adjacent. Tangent. So I'm going to write it out. Tan theta is equal to opposite divided by adjacent. Okay, now I'm going to write it. Tan of 72 degrees is equal to H divided by 5.8. Does everybody see what to do to get H? Do a quick cross multiply. Yes? So H is going to be approximately tan of 72 times 5.8. So we're going to clear it, tan of 72 degrees, close it, right, times 5.8. Yes? And then I'll put that in. Okay. There we go. So H is approximately 17.85 meters. All right. So what do you think about that? Okay, carrying on. This is just to show that you can use an alternate method to find the missing side. So if you see two sides here, to find the third side, the first preference would be to use Pythagorean Theorem. So 7 squared plus 24 squared equals, if you want the hypotenuse squared, and 7 squared is 49, of course. This, by the way, is one of the triples I was talking about. So you might even know the answer already. 576 is h squared. 625 is h squared, so h is 25. So the other way you could do it is you can either use the opposite or the adjacent to figure out what the hypotenuse is. So for instance, if I use the angle and I use 24, that would be the opposite. So opposite and hypotenuse would be cos. So cos of 73.74 degrees is equal to opposite, sorry, I'm going to use adjacent. So that's the 7, so 7 over the hypotenuse. So I do a switcheroo, and I go 7 times cos of 73.74. Sorry, 7 divided by 73.74 cos. And I get So because this number right here was rounded, we're not going to get exactly 25, but it basically is 25 if you look at your calculator, because it's 25.0000. Of course, that's centimeters again. If I use sine theta, that would be sine of 73.74 is equal to opposite, which is 24 divided by h. So then h, again, if I punch in, do the switcheroo, 24 divided by sine of 73.74. I get 24.99997, so that is 25 as well. So you can see that the hypotenuse is a better answer by using Pythagorean Theorem when you haven't rounded it first. Because 73.74 was a rounded angle, you get actually more of an accurate way this time. So let's try this time. So we could say this is, I don't really like using O, but let's use X here. So do you see with Pythagorean Theorem, that would be 48 squared plus X squared equals 73 squared. So 73 squared is 5329. 48 squared is 2304. I subtract 3025. I get x equals 55 exactly, and that's centimeters again. So again, because I didn't round anything until, like, my answer is exact here, but 48.89 is a rounded answer. So now, if I relate that to, that's my opposite. If I use my hypotenuse, that would be sine theta. So sine of 48.89 degrees is equal to opposite, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 73. So I do a quick cross multiply, 73 times 48.89, and I get 55 centimeters again. So if I do it in relationship to my 48, that would be opposite and adjacent. So that's tan of 48.89 degrees is equal to opposite, which is x, divided by adjacent, which is 48. Again, a quick cross multiply, tan of 48.89 times 48 is 55 centimeters again.